This conference will now be recorded.
Thank you, Carol. Okay, how many of you have used design positioning before? Sandy, Lee, Elizabeth?
I definitely have, but I always need review because I forget.
Okay, well, hopefully with what we do today and with your notes, you can refer back to them, that it'll help and refresh your memory. Okay. I'm gonna wait a second here for Elizabeth to come back in. If you haven't done it already, if you could use your 120 by 120 hoop and hoop up some tearaway stabilizer, that would be great.
I did it, Judy, but I put it in my bigger hoops. I'm gonna rehoop really quick.
It doesn't matter. You can use your bigger hoop.
Okay.
That's
I was
fine, Diane.
this morning.
I was just trying to make it easy because they used the instructions call for the 120 by 120, and then they call for a couple other hoops, but that's why I sent you those two little designs, so we didn't have to use any bigger hoops. Okay?
Well, it's not hard to rehoop it. Would it be easier just to do it?
It's up to you. You can.
So do we need to put those designs on a stick or into Sew-net?
You need to have them on your machine or have access to them, yes.
We had to let our little puppy dog go the other day, and we're both still reeling.
Oh, I'm so sorry. It's always tough.
So,
Well, Elizabeth must be having difficulties getting back in. I'm so sorry. Lee, you may have to.
I'm texting her. You may actually, she actually has the Epic, so I'm not sure. Anyway.
Oh, that's true. She bought the Epic.
Right.
So maybe she's a week early.
I noticed that it had been sent to her.
Peggy, if you have not gotten a 120 hoop, or 120 by 120 hoop, and then put some just tearaway stabilizer in it, that'd be a good place to start before we get into the middle of this and have to kind of wait for people to get their hoops ready. And then you will want a piece of fabric to maybe 8 by 8 or something big enough to lay on the top of the hoop and pretty much cover the whole inside of it. Kind of like this. You just want a piece of fabric that will fit in the hoop, okay? And you do not want to hoop your fabric. You just want to, and it'll be explained here shortly. So let me know, please, when you're ready.
Judy?
Yes.
I saw where you cut out shelf liner on your hoops. I did that. I think that's a good idea.
That's a big help when you are hooping just stabilizer or you are hooping something thin like organza.
Yeah, that was really a good idea. Yeah.
Well, the company used to put out what they call hoop ease, and it was like a thin batting or a thin polyester kind of batting, fleece batting. That was kind of sticky. What you singing, Liz? Okay. Has everybody got a hoop ready? We're gonna get started here. And,
I'm ready.
all right, thanks.
Where did
All
my
right.
go?
Elizabeth, the class today is on the FOF, not the Viking.
I
Oh,
understand.
Huh?
I understand.
Okay, and you're most welcome to stay because some of it will be applicable, translatable to the Epic, and you're most welcome to stay and learn what you can.
I'm just trying to learn as much as I can.
Okay, that's fine.
And-
We're glad to
and-
have.
I can't actually use my system today because I've got a door and windows being installed. So
Oh my goodness. Okay, well, good luck with that. This will maybe keep you entertained in the meantime.
okay.
All right. So let's see, we want to get started here with being in Embroidery Edit, and I just had this on the screen because like I said, I wanted something pretty. So I'm going to just delete it. We do want our 120 by 120 hoop option. So I've selected mine, and that's what's showing up on my screen is my 120 by 120. And then we're going to go to the butterfly up here and open up our designs and go to the flowers and leaves category here and pick number 38. So we'll just scroll up until we can see 38, and that's this little pink flower right here. So we're going to touch it. If you touch and hold, and let me just show you this. Go away. My finger's not working today. I guess it didn't know we were busy teaching class. Come on. Why will you not? There we go. Delete. Okay. When I touch a design and select it, if I touch and hold it, it will come into the screen centered wherever my finger is. See, my finger was there, so the design comes into the screen right where my finger was. But if I bring that, I touch that design and then I tap it, it's going to come into the hoop on the FOF centered, which is just a little aside. But if it annoys you that your designs aren't coming in centered into your hoop, that's how you can get them to be centered in your hoop. All right. Okay. Any questions on that? All right. So now we are in Embroidery Edit, and we want to go to Embroidery Stitch Out. So we're going to touch Embroidery Stitch Out down at the bottom. And then we get our settings panel, which we don't want to change any settings. We just want to put our hoop on. And then we are ready to make some horizontal and vertical lines on our fabric. So we want to find the center of our fabric. So if you just draw a horizontal and a vertical line on your fabric to make a center point, that'll be great. All right. All right, now we are going to go ahead and touch OK on our settings panel, and it comes up to the Embroidery Stitch Out screen, all right, with our design showing and the screen here. In order to get our design in the center of our fabric where I've marked my crooked cross lines, we want to go to precise positioning down here. All right. And it will, come on. What happened was it changed my hoop to 80 by 80. So I need to go back to Embroidery Edit, and I can see that it changed it up in the information part of the screen up here at the top. It says 80 by 80. So I need to go back and change my hoop to 120 by 120. And now I'm going to go to Stitch Out again. Put my hoop on, say OK to get out of my settings panel. And now I'm going to go to precise positioning. Sorry for that. But that's often happens when you bring a design, it will change the hoop to fit the design. So once you're in precise positioning, and it's not showing, there we go. You can see the precise positioning panel. The instructions, I'm on page 2 and number 4. There are 4 numbers on your screen here, and number 1 should be highlighted with the little butterfly. That lets that, when that number is highlighted, you can move this cursor around. And the purpose of moving the cursor is to move when you touch number 2, it will move the hoop to wherever you have, or the needle position to wherever you have the cursor. Up on the top of the screen, you have little hints as to what step you're on and what that step does. So you might, if you're having trouble remembering what each one of those little 1, 2, 3, and 4 do, it's going to tell you at the top of your screen. So we have touched number 1, and we are able to move our cursor around. Now, if I touch number 2, it has moved the hoop so that the needle is sitting right there, and you'll notice that the cursor has changed from a green crosshair to this crosshair with a circle, more like a target crosshair. And that will, if I move, I can move that position using my arrow keys, and as I move that position, the design on my screen moves, and also the hoop moves, so that that needle position stays right in that place on the design. However, okay, I skipped part of step 4. When I was on number 1, if I touch the little plus, these 4 pieces over here are the corners of my design and the center of my design. If I have my cursor on number 1, if I have my cursor in the center of the design, and then I go to number 2, then hoop and needle are now positioned at the center of the design. And I'm sorry, this is, I'm trying to follow the instructions as they are in the handout. Okay, now take your fabric and put it over the hoop and place it so that if you hand wheel the needle down, it is sitting right at that crosshair. And we kind of did this last week with the towels to get it, our design in this, where we wanted it. So now that I have my fabric where if I lower the needle, it will go right in the center of that crosshair. And this is using precise positioning and not hooping your fabric. This is an easy way to make sure that you get your fabric centered in your hoop so the design goes where you want it to be. All right. Now you can, if you want, you could pin this in your hoop, but usually it will stay right where you want it. So you can now touch OK at the bottom of your precise positioning, and your hoop will move to the first stitch of your design. All right. Has everybody been able to do that? And does anybody have any questions?
Yes, ma'am, worked great.
Okay. So if you bring up your color block list on your machine, you can touch your first icon on the top there and you get your based options up. So let's click based around design and then OK. The hoop is going to move again to where you can baste it, and go ahead and stitch out your design. All right. Okay. Okay, and once it has basted the design, then it is going to go ahead and stitch out the flower. And there are 3 colors on the flower. I don't know exactly why, but it gives you an option to make different parts of the flower different colors if you would like.
But it says it's an put in applique fabric.
Huh? Yeah, you could applique it, or you could just
Hit it, or it says skip the tube.
okay. I did not realize that was an applique. It could be an applique design. Thank you, Liz.
Is this actually an applique?
I'm sorry.
Is this an applique?
Yes, Liz realized that. I did not. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I didn't stitch it out ahead of time.
Okay, well, we don't need to do an applique. We'll just do it this way, right?
Yeah, you can just stitch out color 3.
Okay.
While you listen to me stitch out color 3. I don't want to, sorry, I don't want to mute my mic because then I can't talk.
I'm done, Judy.
Me too.
Me too.
Okay, great. All right, so once it's done, take your hoop off and go back to embroidery edit. And here you want to select your flower and then touch and hold and get your delete and clear your screen. All right. So our next step, I'm on page 4 at the top. It tells you to clear the screen like we just did. And then we want to go to our, don't fall over camera. We want to go to the A in our menu up here on the side. We want to go to our fonts and we want to pick Graphite 20, which is down here at the bottom. And once you've picked that, then you can close by touching the top part up here. You can close your font menu so you can see what you're typing on the screen. And we want to type in the word spring with the S capitalized and then turn off the capitalization and do the rest of it. Nope, not like that. Okay, the word spring. And then before we say okay, we want to make that word into a curve. So down here, right next to where we typed in the word spring, we see ABC on a curve. Touch that, and then we get an option of text shapes. We want to choose the 4th one over, and it automatically will put our letters, our word, on an upward curve. All right. Now, in order to get that into our, now we can touch OK, and it takes us back to embroidery edit. Then we want to get into the edit portion of our screen down here. And we want to make sure that our move icon is highlighted, and we want to touch the center of our control wheel, and that puts the center, our design, in the center of our hoop. All right. So now we are going to go to Embroidery Stitch Out, and that will bring our embroidery arm into position and give us our settings screen. We don't want to change any of our settings, but we do want to put our hoop back on the machine with our embroidered flower in it. Just say OK on your settings screen, and then it will move the hoop into position for the first letter. Okay, now we want to move that word spring to the top of our flower. So we're going to again use precise positioning. So if you touch precise positioning down at the bottom here, we again come up with number 1. It is selected, and if we touch the lower left cursor, these 5 little icons over here are called set cursor points. So if we touch the left bottom of one, it moves our cursor on the screen to where would be, if you drew a rectangle around the design, that would be the bottom left-hand corner of that rectangle. So we're going to touch number 2 now, and it's going to move the hoop to that position where it is now. And that's not really where we want to embroider our word. So if we come back to our screen here and we touch the up arrow on our control wheel, it will move the design, and it will also move it also has moved the hoop so that the needle is now further up and above the design. All right. Then if I touch the lower right cursor position, it moves the hoop over to the right side and says, this is where I am going to end the word. And our instructions say to, they tell you that you can check other points in it. And I like to do that. So I'm going to come back to my screen and I'm going to pick number 1. And I'm going to move my cursor to the bottom of the P. All right. So if I touch number 2, it moves my hoop to where the bottom of the P would be. And that's right into my flower. So that tells me that I need to move my hoop up some more. So I can just touch the up arrow on my control wheel and it will move the design and move the hoop up for me. So now this is where, when I lower the needle, this is where the bottom of that P would be. Well, I would like it to be a little higher, but okay. I think I would like it to be about there. And that's good because I'm about to run out of real estate here in my hoop as far as moving my design. So move your design to where you would like it to be above your flower. Okay, and once you have it there, because we centered it to start with, it should still be centered side to side. We've just moved it to the top. Once you have it where you like it to be, then go ahead and touch OK, and it'll take you back to Embroidery Stitch Out, and you can stitch out the word spring. And because it is going to consider each design or each letter a single design, when you go back to Embroidery Stitch Out in your color block list, if you will pick color block merge, which is the second icon from the right, it will go ahead and stitch out all of your letters without stopping. It'll still do the tie-offs and so forth in between the letters, but it won't stop in between them to treat them as individual designs. Does that make sense? Any questions on that? All right. Get my needle threaded. And has everybody got the word spring where they want it on their design? Nod your head yes. Give me a thumbs up or whatever. Okay, thank you. All right, so I'm gonna mute
Yeah,
myself.
my bobbin's low though. I gotta find a new bobbin.
Oh, well, yeah, sorry. I guess I should ask you at the beginning or remind you at the beginning to make sure you have a full bobbin. Okay, I'm
I
gonna
knew
go.
that when I was pushing the envelope.
Oh, okay.
You know, when you have a couple that are like not full, but you don't, I hate to waste thread, right?
I understand. I did not waste around my design. I could have, but I did not. That would cover it up. If you start off without wasting around your design, you can't stop. Do that. Go right back to where you were at the time. Okay, so now it has finished that, and I did stop when I realized I hadn't basted my design and went back and did baste it, and it came right back and finished the design where I had left off. So once it's finished, you can take it, the hoop off the machine, go back to Embroidery Edit, and clear your screen by deleting the design. All right. Has everybody been able to stitch out their spring and their flower? Okay, thank you, Sandy. Elizabeth is good, or Liz is good.
Judy, I have a question. Would you take that basting out before you did the second one?
I thought about that. You could, yes. Then you wouldn't have to, try to get it out from underneath the letters. It's not gonna hurt anything that it's underneath something that, you've like that you've embroidered over the
Yeah.
letters here. But yes, if I were doing it for something good, yes, Elizabeth, I would.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you for bringing that up. I appreciate that. So now the next section of our instructions calls for us to use a rather large design and a large hoop because we can accomplish the same thing without spending a lot of time stitching out. I sent you two small designs. I sent you a purple flower and a yellow flower. And I hope you were able to put those on a stick or get them to your machine or in the cloud where you could get to them. Did anybody have any problems doing that? No, Sandy's good. All right, actually what I did was I took parts out of the design that they suggested we use. So what I would like you to do is to go ahead and rehoop just stabilizer in your 120 by 120 hoop. And then you don't need a big piece of fabric, but again, we're not going to hoop the fabric. Excuse me. And I want you to take your fabric again, and I want you to draw a line. But now this time we're not drawing crosshairs. We're just going to draw a baseline. If you have looked at the designs, and let me well, hello. Oh, okay. If you look at the designs, you will see that they have a row of stitches at the bottom. Okay, and that is what we are going to put on the line that we draw on our fabric. So I would like you to draw an angled line, not a steep angle, but just kind of like that. If you can.
Are we going to use the same size hoop?
Yes, yes.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay, we can do this in the same size hoop because I've given you small designs. Okay.
Okay.
All right. That was on purpose. Okay. So once you've got your fabric drawn and your stabilizer hooped up, I want you to bring in one of the designs and into your 120 by 120 hoop. And let's see what it did to me on hoops. Yes, it changed my hoop again to an 80 by 80 hoop. So now I have this, my little purple flower on my screen. You can use either flower. It doesn't matter to me. We're going to use two of them. You can make them the same. You can use one purple one, one yellow one, two purples, two yellows. It's up to you. They're basically the same size. They both have the, if you will, the grass at the bottom of them. All right. So once you've got your design on your screen in your 120 hoop, go ahead and go to Embroidery Stitch Out. Put your hoop on your machine and say OK on your settings menu. Then you should be in Embroidery Stitch Out. And again, we're going to go to precise positioning. All right. And I'm going to try to back this off so we can see the whole of what I'm doing here.
Excuse me, Judy, did you want a vertical line or a horizontal line?
I want an angled line. Can you see my line here that goes
Yes, I heard
cattywampus?
you saying that, and I guess it was, yeah, sorry.
That's all right. Because we want to learn about the other feature of precise positioning, which is being able to rotate something, okay? All right. Come on, get back far enough that I can see both things. All right. Camera. All righty. Okay. So now, we're going to follow the same steps. We're just not using the same design that they show in the instructions. All right. So again, in precise positioning, number one is selected, and our cursor is showing in the upper left-hand corner of our design. So that's because you'll notice that there are some extra things on the design which are what we call alignment marks that help you line up designs if you're going to connect them. And those were added in the software. So the first thing and the last thing that it's going to stitch out are these alignment marks. And they're just little corner L-shaped stitches to help us line up the design when we go to do second and subsequent designs. All right. Okay. So number 7 says that step one should be selected. Then we are going to touch the upper right set point. So now the cursor moves over to the upper right hand corner. And then when we touch number 2, the hoop moves so that the needle is over that point on the hoop. Now we're going to put the fabric on the hoop, and we're going to put the end of our line right under, I don't know if you can, we're going to put the end of our line right where the needle would drop. Okay. So that sets that point for us. Then we are going to if you want to. Right. Now we are going to touch step number 3, and I'm going to leave the camera on the hoop. And then it says touch the lower right point. So coming back to the screen, now I have I have 2 cursors on my screen. I have the green cursor at the bottom right hand corner, and I have this, what I'm going to call a target cursor, or it is a center of rotation. Steps 1 and 2 are to move your design or your match points horizontally and vertically. Steps 3 and 4 let you rotate your design. So wherever you have your cursor in step 2, when you go to step 3, that becomes your center of rotation. So now I am on step 3, and I have my center of rotation here at the upper right hand corner, and I can move it was right there. My hand, this becomes my handle for rotation. So when I touch number 4, the hoop moved so that the needle was down at that position now. Now with number 4, I can use the 2 arrows that are showing on my control wheel, and I can go in the wrong way. Okay. I can move it so that the needle is over the line. Oops, gotta go a little bit more. And as I move it above the control wheel, there is a number, which is how many degrees I'm moving it, how much I have turned it. And if you look on your screen, you will now see that your design is sitting at an angle. Does that make sense? No, Sandy? Talk to me.
Could get would you mind doing that again?
I would not mind doing that again at all. Okay, so I'm
Thanks,
going to cancel out of here.
Okay.
Yeah, go back to step 1.
Okay, so now I'm in Embroidery Stitch Out, and my design is straight up and down. Okay,
Yes.
all right. And my cursor is in my upper left-hand corner.
Yes.
All right, now I'm going to precise positioning.
Yes.
And I am going to move my cursor over to the upper right hand, okay? All right, so now it's over at the top here, right?
Okay. Yes.
All right, now, and this doesn't matter, I can move my fabric in my hoop so that the needle drops right on my line, because that's where I want this part of the design to be, is right at that corner.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So now I am going to I've got it lined up where I want it, except that, okay. I had to move my thing again. Okay, so now my needle is at where I want it, my design. The cursor is now this circle with crosshairs. All right, and I'm on number 2. Now I am going to touch number 3. Remember, my cursor is up there. I'm going to touch number 3 and I get a second cursor. I get the green cursor back.
Right.
All right. So number 3, I have 2 cursors, but now I want to rotate it based on where this black cursor is. But I want my green cursor to be down at the right-hand lower corner. I want that to be my handle that I use to rotate with. All right.
Okay.
All right. So now I'm going to touch number 4. If you look at the number 4 on your machine, you see a curved arrow. I mean, a curved line with arrows on both ends,
Yes.
which kind of indicates that's something you can use to turn. So I'm going to touch number 4. And now my hoop has moved down to this position, my lower right-hand corner, but it's not on my line anymore. I want to move that to the line. All right. So now my control wheel says 0 degrees at the top and only 2 arrows are active. I can only move it sideways.
Oh.
And you'll notice that up at the black cursor at the top, it now has little curved lines with arrows saying this is where I'm going to rotate.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Slicker than snot. I get, yeah.
Using your arrows, you can move that and watch your needle until it comes right above your line. Your design is now turned or rotated, and now your needle is right above the line. Okay?
Wow. Yeah.
Did that work?
Yeah.
Slick, right?
Yeah.
Aren't these machines fantastic? So now
Rotating thing.
you've got it where you want it.
Right.
And you can just say, okay. And it goes back to Embroidery Stitch Out. And it's going to stitch out those alignment marks, but you don't need those for right now. So you can just skip number 1. And I would suggest doing based around design again. All right.
Yep.
So
Okay.
let's do it. And you can skip the last one if you want, or you can go ahead and stitch out the last design section, the last color, please. Because that'll stitch out some alignment marks. And make sure that you turn off color block merge. Although it probably won't make any difference because we don't have multiple colors together, but it was on from last time and it's a good idea just to turn it off. All right.
You know, I didn't pay attention to what you just said.
Okay. I said make sure you turn off color block merge, although we don't have consecutive blocks with the same color in this design. It's just a good habit to get into to turn it off.
Oh, good idea.
Okay. So I'm going to mute myself and stitch.
Where did I go with it? You go sit down, we're not going anyplace yet.
What's the matter with?
What's number 5? Oh,
Help you, Liz?
no, I do that.
Diane, you okay?
Yes, except I couldn't get my cursor over the little microphone. So it didn't stitch the grass on the line. Should it have?
If you had your needle lined up, yes, it should have.
Which I did.
This one did.
Diane, mine didn't either because I didn't have that one point on the line. It went at an angle, but not on the one that I stitched, only because my first point wasn't there.
Well, I didn't get it up the second one on the line. I mean, the second one. Yeah, I'm not sure what I did.
Okay, well, we're gonna do the same thing with the second one, so you have a second shot at it. Okay?
So are we going to leave this design on the screen and then we can save it as a combined design, or how does that work?
No, we're not gonna leave this one on the screen.
Okay. Do we take the basting stitch out?
You can, yes.
And we did that because we didn't have it in the hoop, right?
Right. So if you're finished embroidering, go ahead and take your hoop off, take your basting stitch out.
Same piece of fabric.
Yeah, don't unhoop it.
Right.
It's gonna be a little bit different than what the instructions say, because we're not using big hoops and big designs and big pieces of fabric, all right?
Okay.
You can go back and play with that later. Okay, and did you stitch out that very last color?
Yes.
Oh, but I
Oh,
pulled it
no,
out.
I just, only the green. No.
Okay, so what
Oh,
it
shoot.
did
No,
was
I didn't.
the very last color stitched two little L-shaped sets of stitches, and I just came in and colored mine since I did my design all in one color, so you could see them easily. Those are what are called the alignment stitches.
I just pulled those out with the basting. That wasn't very smart.
Me too.
Well, you can see the holes where they were, right? So you could take your little marking pen and kind of mark them, like I did.
Ew.
But what, Liz? What happened?
Oh, I hit my leg. No, I'm fine. I didn't know I might think.
Oh, no, don't hit your leg. Okay.
What?
Is everybody ready to go on?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So now that we have this one design on our fabric in our hoop, if you had the bigger design like they talk about in the instructions, you would have filled up the hoop with that whole design, and you would need to re-hoop stabilizer and move your fabric up. In this case, because I gave you these two little designs that accomplish the same learning process, we are going to just put a second design on our line to connect with this first one. All right. So we're going to go through the same process. I'm going to get rid of my purple flower, and I'm going to bring in my yellow flower. All right. That's interesting. Okay. So now my yellow flower is selected, and I'm going to kind of move it in my hoop a little bit in the general area where I want to put it. All right. That just makes the positioning a little faster. Okay, so we're going to go through the same process. We're going to go into Embroidery Stitch Out, load our hoop onto our machine, say OK for our settings menu, and we are going to go into precise positioning. Just a little information here. If on your color block list you have your butterfly selected, all you're seeing on your colors is that first one. And you're going to see your design just like this with that first alignment stitch highlighted and the rest of it grayed out when you go into precise positioning. And sometimes it's hard, it's difficult to really see where you want to be on your design if you're working with a grayed out part. So when you go into precise positioning, I suggest that you turn off your butterfly so you see all of the colors as they are, rather than grayed out when you go into precise positioning. Does that make sense?
So Judy, when I moved my little flowers to the center of the screen, it left the alignment pieces up where it brought the design in. Did anybody else have that happen?
Yes.
Because, yeah, mine came in as separate things too. So I went to, let me go back to embroidery edit. Oh, with the hoop off. It is actually in as three pieces. That's because
I just went to layers and I did a select all. So I could have the whole thing selected. So
How do
you,
you select all? Oh,
I'm sorry, huh?
just tap on them to select them all?
Say that again, please.
Just tap on them to select them all in the panel thing?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, either that or in the layers, the first icon on the left is a select all. This one over here.
Oh, okay. And then do you have to save it, or does it just save it when you close the layers panel?
It doesn't save it.
Okay, it's moving together. That's what I wanted. So it's
Okay. All right. It temporarily glues them together. All right. All right. So now you can go to Embroidery Stitch Out. Attach your hoop. Say okay. And go to precise positioning again. All right. Now this is going to be the same song, second verse. So I'm going to thread my needle here. Okay. So number 1 is selected, and we really want we want to be able to line up you can't see anything. We want to be over at the right hand corner, so we want to touch in our little squares down here, we want to touch our right hand corner, upper right hand corner, so that we can move the cursor over to there. All right. And this time, because our fabric is not loose, we're going to have to touch number 2 and then use the arrows to move our design and hoop back so that position, our right hand corner, lines up with the bottom right hand corner of our previous design. You want to hear that again? All right. So now my needle is right at the bottom of that first design, the bottom lower right hand corner of the first design, which happens also to be where one of the alignment marks is. Okay.
Yes.
Has everybody been able to move their hoop so that that's where their design is?
Yes.
Okay. So now we have our target, if you will, right there. And what we want to do is again, it's straight up and down. We want to swing that bottom to the left so it lines up with our line on our fabric. So we're going to go to number 3. It gives us our second cursor, but we want that cursor down at the bottom right hand corner. So we're going to touch the little corner indicator and the cursor goes down to the right hand corner. Then we're going to touch number 4 and the hoop has moved so that our needle is where it would have that corner is now, but that's not where we want it. The line is over here. So we want to move it to the left. And that we can do by using our arrow keys on our control wheel. And we can move it over, not that far, until our needle is right over our line again. And when I drop my needle, it should just hit my line. Okay. And when I look on the screen, now my design is at an angle.
Yes.
Okay? Thumbs up? All right. Okay, so then we're done with design positioning, so we're going to say okay. And it's going to go back and again, we can skip the alignment marks. We can just start with color number 2 and stitch out our design. All right. So if you're all lined up and ready to go ahead.
So Judy, I made a mistake. It's saying the design won't fit in the hoop because I started the first design over too far. I put my fabric, the line, so I can't stitch it out, but I think I get the placement part.
Okay, well, you could draw another line and then put your second design on your second line.
Okay, I will do that. Because now I have a full bobbin.
All right. Question, Liz?
Judy,
Yes, dear.
when I hit number 3, my needle goes all the way, goes way down, far away. How do I get it to go up where I want it to go?
Your cursor went way down?
Yeah, it went. You know what it did? It went down to the bottom of the design instead of the top part of it.
Okay, what number are you on right now?
I'm on number 3. I got number 2.
Okay, but stay on number 3, and then the corner marks over to the right hand on your screen, touch the bottom right hand corner mark.
Touch the right hand corner.
Bottom, you have 5.
Okay.
What happened there?
It went up to where the first one started. That's what I did wrong. I didn't hit that. Then go to 4, right? And then move it.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay? All
Okay.
right. Good.
There. No.
Don't forget to baste around your design.
Yeah, I forgot, so I held mine.
Judy, don't I want it to hit the little mark up in the left hand corner? I don't know, this thing is going crazy.
As you move it, if your cursor, your black cursor should be up in the very right-hand corner of your design. And your green cursor should be down in the bottom right-hand corner. The black one at the top right-hand.
Okay, wait, okay, I guess, let's go back, okay, 3. Go
Okay.
down here. Then move it. Do that.
So Judy, just trying to understand the process.
Go ahead.
Okay, what happened?
So just trying to understand the process in my head. You're touching the corner, you're hitting the numbers before you touch the corners. So like number 1, you move the cursor to where you want it. Number 2, you touch the upper right-hand corner. Then you hit number 3 and touch the bottom
Right-hand corner.
corner, right?
And then you touch number 4 and then you can move it.
And then you touch number 4 and you get both.
And then if it says it's not in the hoop, then what do? You start over again.
It says what, Liz?
She said if it's not in the hoop, if it says it won't fit in the hoop, then you start over again, which is what I had to do. Right.
Yeah, you have to be careful about where you move it.
Okay. So throw this one away and start over. Okay.
Or draw a new line and ignore what you did in the first one.
Where's the fabric? Okay. Get rid of all this garbage.
Okay, how can I help you, Liz? You want to put your first one kind of up and to the right. Sandy, did you do okay?
Yeah, I'm real pleased. This is, I hope I can remember it, but you have good instructions, so. Yeah.
I have to print them out. So I have to,
Reminders up in the left-hand corner of your screen are a big help as to
Yeah.
what each step does for you.
mine turned out all on the line. Yay.
This
Okay.
is a lot easier to understand than on the Pro 2, I think. I never did get it on the Pro 2.
Well, they changed how it works.
Yeah, this is much better.
Yeah, this is always how it had worked on the Viking.
Oh,
And so they changed it and it works the same way on both machines now. So that should help Elizabeth.
it's awesome. Yeah, I like it.
When we do the Viking precise positioning, not this month, but next month, maybe some of this will come back and be helpful.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I think it'll help no matter what.
Precise
agree.
positioning.
Diane Ryan, can we see yours?
Yes, but I didn't change my color thread, so it's just all
Well,
pink.
you noticed I didn't either.
So the second one turned perfect, right on the line. Can you see? Whoops.
Yeah.
Great. Perfect. Sandy, you started to show us yours? Perfect. And you
I
did
missed my
your
line a
color.
little, but I'm happy. Yeah, I'm happy.
Good, Lee.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
closer, honey.
I can't see myself. Let's see. I can't see. Oh, I guess
Are you
over
happy
there.
with it?
Okay.
Which one to hide?
It
Nice.
keeps flopping down. I don't know. Can you see it at
Oh,
all?
yeah.
Yeah, yours is perfect. 2 times.
So what do you think, Lee?
No, I love it. I'm so glad I could go over this a million times and not remember how to do it. Thank you.
But maybe having these written instructions will help.
They will definitely help, for sure.
Let me put you on speed dial, Judy.
Judy, would you mind if I asked a Sew-net question while I have you?
No, go ahead.
So I'm doing those
Good.
denim jackets, you know, for my granddaughters. And
Yes.
I decided I wanted to do some ribbon embroidery with my attachment.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
I was hunting for a design, but I didn't want a stem. I just wanted the flower. And I couldn't figure out how to get rid of the stem. I couldn't figure out how to cut that piece out of the design. And so I just gave up. And I didn't do anything. I mean, I did stitch out a flower using the embroidery attachment just to make sure I could still remember how to do it,
Yes.
which I had to pull up Karen Charles's YouTube and follow along with her, which is great. You know, I love that we can do that kind of thing, but I couldn't, in my Sew-net, I couldn't remember how to take part of a design and get rid of it, how to cut it out.
That's my favorite part of the software, which is called. Did you try going into Stitch Edit?
No,
If you're in embroidery, the main part, and you have your design selected, you should be able to use the edit feature, edit design, and it'll flip you into Stitch Editor where you can take the design apart,
so,
which we will do Friday.
oh, okay, so I'll just wait till Friday. Nope. I'm glad that timing is perfect. You know, that's one thing I wish my Sew-net had. I wish there was like some kind of a PDF resource file where you could go in and look things up.
What's got your help stuff is pretty good.
Sorry, what?
Their help feature, have you tried that?
No. I mean, in my Sewnet, just in help, my Sewnet
Well,
embroidery.
when you're in the software, in each module, there's up on the ribbon bar, there is the word help. And you can search for different functions and so forth. It'll bring up a completely different screen, and you can choose the search function, which is over on the left-hand side. It'll bring up an empty box and you type in what you want to know about. It will give you a lot of information.
Okay, good to know. Because I didn't know that. I guess I should have looked at the help screen.
Yeah, I had to look at it the other day.
Is when we have so many different things we can do that we don't do any of them super routinely. So then we're always in learning mode. We're always like, what? How do I do that?
Okay.
Isn't that the point of all this, Diane? Constantly learning.
Oh, come on, I did.
Okay. So we have one more set of instructions here, and that involves using our app on our phone to position something on, and I'm using a towel, they used a towel, or to position something on a garment or anything you want to embroider on by using this My Sew Notice app on the phone. And I know some of you have seen this before, some of you have used it. Sandy, have you used this or seen it?
I haven't, I watched, I think you did something, didn't you, on, for the Viking? But I haven't used it, no.
Okay, you haven't used it. So today,
Nope. I will today.
all right?
Yes.
Okay. Let me get my
Is that the
phone.
one? That's the one you helped me put on my phone, right?
Yes, dear.
If I just gotta find it, right?
Okay. Well, on my phone, it's right here. It says Sew Notice. It's black. It's got a circle and a butterfly.
Yes.
Okay, so when I touch
Oh, I see.
that,
I see it. I see
then
it.
this is what I get on my phone. All right.
Okay.
The thing we want is the top one where it says Design Placement. Okay, now it comes up and it's it has activated the camera on my phone and it shows me a little camera down at the bottom. So what I need to do is to get I've already hooped my towel, and let me see if I can show you this. Here's my towel, and on purpose I hooped it not quite straight. So I'm going to, well, I'm looking at it on my phone instead of the camera, I'm sorry. Okay, so here's my towel and my hoop, all right? And I'm going to take a picture of it and make sure that I get my whole hoop, and I'll show you just a sec. Okay, so now here is the picture that I've taken, and you notice that I've got little pink corners, and I can adjust those corners so they are exactly in the corners of my hoop, and they appear to be good. However, up at the top of my screen, it says 360 by 260. That's not the size hoop I'm using. So I touch that, and now it gives me a list of all the hoops, and it's a 120 by 120. So now I've changed that to 120 by 120. I've got an arrow down at the bottom which says go to the next screen. It says the image represents the hooped fabric. Click on the send icon below to send it to your My Sew-net enabled device. So the icon below that they're talking about is this little airplane. So I touch the airplane and it says my compatible device is my FOF creative icon. And now it says on my icon, do you want to allow your phone to send commands to this machine? And I say, okay. So now it shows me a picture of my hoop. What do I got for my hoop? Okay, why am I? That didn't seem to work too good, did it? It should have shown me my hoop. So let's try this again. Let me get rid of this design. Come on. Yes, okay.
Oh, I know what's wrong.
What?
I know what's wrong. My machine isn't hooked up to Wi-Fi.
Oh,
Oh, okay, there we
okay.
go.
So I'm going to go back and try to send it again. Why is it doing that?
Mine won't send, but it's just something with, I don't know, I might be like Liz. It's all, anyway, it's just kind of
Do you have a little red thing on the top of over by your Wi-Fi? No, on your sewing machine.
She's talking
Little
about
red.
here.
Is it a red dot or a green dot?
Oh, no, it's green. I have green on, yeah,
Oh, really?
yeah. My Sew-net, my cloud, and my Wi-Fi is all green.
Oh.
But I
So
tried to do this earlier and it didn't want to do it.
Oh, mine was red.
Okay. So that's a picture of my towel on my screen. Now I can bring in any design that I want that fits in that hoop and position it where I want it on the towel. All right, so I decided that I was going to not use the design they used. I had one that I liked better. So I'm going to go to my designs and I'm going to pick in Birds and Insects number 21, which is a butterfly. And I want it to be right side up. So I'm going to rotate it. And then I'm going to move that. And I can rotate it so that it lines up perfectly with my towel. Okay, and when I go to, I'm in Embroidery Edit when I'm doing all this maneuvering. And when I go to Embroidery Stitch Out, and put my hoop on, then it is going to put my butterfly where I want it on my hoop. So if I go to precise positioning again, and I select number 2 and I check my corners of my design, it's right where I want it on my towel. Okay? Make sense, Sandy?
Yes. I just need some practice on this.
Yes. You just need to practice.
Right.
Liz? You
I got it.
You got it?
Yep.
Yep. Lee?
It's gone.
She's gone.
No, I have it. Yeah, I got the first part to work great, but I'm not getting it to line up. It looks great on my screen, but it doesn't line up when I go to stitch it out. So I don't know why.
Well, you got your design positioned on your screen where you want it in your hoop?
Yeah, it looks perfect on my screen. But when I go to Embroidery Stitch Out,
Okay.
yeah, it's definitely not right. That's okay. It would be very funny if I stitched it out like this. It's just seeing it differently, that's all.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
All right. Well, try it again from the beginning and see if it helps. It's, when you have time. Okay.
Right, thank you.
All right. Diane, how are you doing?
Good. I just picked a mini design and put it on the line and got it all aligned, and now I'll see if it stitches where it says it's going to. Because I used my same piece of fabric that we were using with the line.
That's fine.
So I just need to stitch it and see if it is where it says it's going to be.
Okay. How
You've
about you?
done- So I have a question. So I'm looking at the back of that little flower we did, the first one, and all that tearaway stabilizer that's on the back of it.
Yeah.
So let's say this was a real thing.
Oh,
And-
yeah.
So we'd have to pick out all that stabilizer if we use tearaway on something that,
No,
if
you
you washed it, would it wash out?
Well, it depends on what kind of tearaway stabilizer you had.
Right.
Because
This,
some of the tearaway stabilizers will partially wash out when you launder them. And there's no need to pick it all out. It depends on what you're putting it on and if the back is visible. Like if you put it on a jacket, yeah,
Right.
then you're gonna probably see the back of it. If you put it on a coat lock, you'll never see it.
right. You'll never see it.
So you want to pick your stabilizers based on what you're putting it on and how it's going, the visibility of it.
Right.
Okay, and if you needed the stabilizer to be to stay in there, to keep your the integrity of your design. when you
Right.
wax it. Does that make sense?
Of course. Yep.
Okay.
So many things to consider.
Yes. Yes, there are. Like remembering to do the basting on your in hoop before you stitch out your design. Things like that.
Yeah.
Other questions about what we've done
Nope.
or anything
No.
else?
This is good.
Oh, good. Design positioning is fantastic.
It's amazing.
I mean, it'll let you
put something exactly where you want it. I have a quilt in process that I'm going to, I have some applique blocks and I digitized some quilting designs to go around it. So I want to use this feature of taking pictures of my quilt block and then setting my design right down on top of it where I want it. So
That's
we'll see
awesome.
how that works out.
Promise you'll show us that?
I'm sorry, Diane?
Will you promise you'll show that to us when you're done with it so we can see how lovely it is?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I think part of it is we don't even, I mean, yes, we're learning all the different things we can do.
But not necessarily the practical application of it.
Well, sometimes, I mean, yes and no. So I think it's great. That's why that Karen Charles trunk show thing was so cool, because we got to see all of these things applied on different, projects. Which was cool.
Yeah. And I think if you notice, our project today, that scarf, that looks like a Karen Charles project. Looks
I
like the
feel-
scarf she had. And
Yep.
if you look on page 13 of the instructions today, look at that quilt. That looks like Karen Charles's quilt.
Yes, it did. The wedding ring one. Yeah,
Yes, it did. Yes, it does.
that is beautiful. And she got them aligned on a line or on a circle.
Yes. Yes, she's an amazing lady.
That she is. Well, we have our own local one.
It tells us that. Okay, any questions? Anything else I can help with or hopefully not confuse you with?
See
No,
you
I'm
next
fine.
time.
Okay, thank you so much for being here today and slogging through this with me.
Well, thank you. We'll see you on Friday for software.
Yes,
Yes.
we will. Is that it?
Okay.
That's it too, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
I'll see you on YouTube on the software this time.
Okay.
We're gonna dance and dance.
Enjoy your dinner dance and
Thank you.
we'll look forward to having you back in class next time.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
This is great. Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay, bye, everybody.
Everybody.
Bye.
Everybody's so nice.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Diane. Elizabeth, I hope this made a little bit of sense to you.
It did, it helped a lot.
Okay,
And I actually could follow it with the Viking on the software translation.
beautiful. Thank you so much.
All right, thanks again.
All
Have a good-
right, thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Have a good rest of your week, ladies. Okay. So Carol can stop our recording. And let's see. Okey-doke.